Greetings, YouTube. I am up way earlier than usual because I have a final exam to give out at 8 a.m., which is not really a final exam. It's my students. Basically, I teach a video production class that involves going inside a TV studio, being cameramen, camerawomen, producers, directors, actors, and kind of most fun going on camera and doing fake Sports Center, Saturday Night Live skits, you name it. We watch them together, we critique them, we eat food, my seniors vote on the best ones, and then we go home. That's how I prefer to do a final exam, because most people who take written tests cram, dump, and then instantly forget, and it means nothing to your long-term education or memory even. So, we have a bunch of different posts in the game. I always say this guy, granted wisdom, has to be on Kabam's payroll, right? He has to be on Kabam's payroll, or he has to be Kabam. Like this guy is the most over-the-top, non-objective, loyal to a fault person on the forums. He doesn't seem like a real person. He doesn't seem grounded in wisdom. He seems grounded in blind loyalty to a fault. But with that being said, for those of you who haven't seen it, and I just want to say this at the top, Seatin is the most important voice in the game. He's one of the reasons, really one of the main reasons why I started my YouTube channel. And I've met him once. It was kind of cool because a couple years ago at New York City Comic Con, he and I both got the Marvel Contest of Champions board game on the prize wheel, and so we got to kind of bond over that. Very nice guy, down to earth, and someone that I think he's the president of this community. He is the unassailable champion of the direction of the game. And so when Seatin speaks, Kabam listens. And I try to call it like I see it on this channel. Sometimes people don't appreciate it when I compliment Kabam because they're so used to being frustrated and angry with a company that has a lot to learn still, even after 7 years, that they just want to hear negative things. But here's my point. If all I did was complain on this channel, but I never gave solutions or I never gave positive feedback, not only would I be some negative hack that just loved to only complain, but it would be this unhealthy relationship where I was playing this game so often more, especially between behind the scenes answering messages and making videos, than I do anything else in the day, and I was living to just be miserable, and that's a miserable existence. So I enjoy when I see growth opportunities. I enjoy when I see positive things. I'm excited. It's Wednesday. It's $5 featured Nexus Cavalier Crystal Day with the new Hawkeye episode. And for me, that's the best $5 to $10 you can spend on the game. I'm always happy to give Kabam my $5 to $10 on these days. Because it's an A+ opportunity for players. And you can support the game while still supporting good chances to improve your roster. So, we have so many different commenters on this post, including CoverGirl, shout out to her. We've gone back and forth with messages for years now. But here we go. We've got so many different comments on this, but eventually, as you can see, so many comments. Eventually, we do get to Kabam Mike. Now, Kabam Mike is famous on my channel for being passive-aggressive. I think for a long time, he has dismissed community feedback that's negative as whiny or over-the-top or ungrateful. And look, to be honest, some people are. My biggest complaints with members of the community involve compensation, where it seems like no matter what, people hate compensation. But here's the thing about compensation. You can only complain about it when it exists. And so for those people, it's almost like it's better to have no compensation than some compensation, because they do less complaining when there's nothing in your inbox than when there's something. And I also think that's just a really important lesson in life, especially when it comes to being grateful. And that's not to say that compensation can't miss the mark. Of course it can. But I just find it ironic that they'll come out of the woodwork when they get something for free, but they'll stay quiet when there's nothing to complain about until then. So Kabam Mike is used to being passive-aggressive and petty and just honestly not very empathetic is the best way that I'd put it. And empathy is the most important form of, to me, higher learning, because it means you've given up your ego to put yourself in someone else's shoes. You've acknowledged that maybe, just maybe, it's better to view something from someone else's perspective than it is to just be on your high horse at the top of a mountain, especially an ego mountain. So Kabam Mike has a very different reaction to Seatin's state of the game opinion than I think he would in past years. And this might be a reflection of not only how much he's learning, but also how much he knows the game is teetering on existence, teetering on potentially being gone, teetering on a lackluster year of not only bug attempts to fix that don't work, unless oftentimes it is a pro player bug that instantly gets patched up, but also a lot of champions this year that are just meh. And Kabam's lost Kabam Broccoli. Kabam's lost a lot of revenue. Kabam has a lot of openings at their company that aren't being filled in very important positions. And I could go on and on and on. So Kabam Mike says, hey everybody, first I want to thank Seatin for making a very well-rounded video covering his opinions on the game. What a great start to this post. I think Kabam Mike in the past would say things like, first of all, I want to just say a lot of you commenting don't understand the work we go through. Now, that might be true, right? But that's not how to get people on your side. That's not how to get people to want to respond to you. That's how to get people more angry. And he didn't do that. He did the opposite, and that shows growth. And I think that that should be acknowledged because that is a much more healthy conversation to have on the forums. Personally, I feel that he made some good points, and I immediately shared this video, as I do with much of the posts and contents that you all make with the greater team. To be objective, I agree with a lot of what was said, and as hard as it is to hear about the ways in which we're not necessarily hitting the mark, it's necessary. All good things. The only way that I would have changed that if he had messaged me and said, Prof, what do you think of this post? I would say, take out the word necessarily. Just say, as hard as it is to hear about the ways in which we're not hitting the mark. Because if people are feeling the same way, you're not hitting the mark. Even if you think you are, you're not doing it. So just don't say necessarily, just take out the word. But this isn't exclusive to this video. We get a lot of feedback, and while we don't always have the time to reply or new information to share, we're still here listening and reading. Sometimes it doesn't feel that way, because feedback can take longer than you'd hope to be actioned on due to development timelines and cycles and a global pandemic that has not made things easier over time. It doesn't mean that you aren't doing it. Everybody is allowed to have their own feelings and thoughts, and we want to make sure that everybody is free to share them. So please remember to keep things civil in these threads and to respect each other's opinions. I will say this from that last point. Kabam has done a pretty concentrated job recently, especially with the Alliance War Reward issue that has been going on right now, of deleting a lot of posts or shadow banning posts that aren't super disrespectful, that they're just asking questions. And so when Kabam says that we want everybody to have their own feelings and thoughts, that's really not true when it comes to their own forum posts, at least not lately, because if those thoughts or feelings aren't promoting Kabam, they'll often just delete the post. Maybe that's different when you're responding to a post that has proven that they won't delete it over time, but not for a new post. As a public forum, disagreements will arise, but we ask that you handle them with civility and not attack each other. Feel free to tell each other why you feel a certain way, but keep it constructive and civil. There's probably more that you want to hear about on this, and I'll be reading, but won't have anything more to say tonight. It's been a long day, and I need to log off, or my head might explode. Honestly, reading stuff like that makes me feel like he's more human. Like, reading that it's been a long day, he needs to log off, his head's going to explode. Like, I get that. I relate to that. That is vulnerability. And I think empathy and vulnerability are so important. I teach my students that, and I tell my students that all the freaking time. Rest assured, this feedback and much of what else has come our way is being shared with the team. All right, so, who knows if that is going to actually develop or mean anything in terms of future healthy conversations in the game. I don't know. But what I do know is that these kind of posts help to lower the temperature of the room and lower the amount of vitriol being thrown. If he had come out and said, a lot of you commenting this that are complaining don't realize that you're wrong, yeah, the house would have gone up in flames even more. I'm going to be honest here, as I always try to be. I don't want this game to die. I don't want Kabam to go downhill so much that they turn off the servers and it ceases to exist. I want the game to improve. I want the game to be fixed. I want the game to be fun. But even because my YouTube channel exists aside, I every day I get to meet new amazing people in this community, people that I would not meet otherwise. And this community is so amazing that, like, last night on a live stream, I had people who came in and it's like, Prof, I don't even play the game anymore, and I still like coming into live streams just to interact with people. I feel like when I do a live stream, it's like opening up a bar or a restaurant, and MCOC, especially because it's the arena most of the time, is just kind of on in the background. It's like a band that's playing music while everybody talks over it. Really, it's about the people. It's not about the game. And the game does bring a lot of diverse people from ages to backgrounds together in ways that's really special. So I don't want the game to go away. I don't want it to die. If everybody became a free-to-play player today, then the servers would be gone in a week or a month or whatever, and then a lot of people who would have nothing to complain about because the game wouldn't exist. But I do think there is a middle ground between wanting the game to succeed and Kabam to succeed, but also not being so loyal that you blind yourself to things that are problems, like legit problems that Seatin brings up and other people bring up that shouldn't be ignored. So yeah, this is a longer video than I usually make, and it is indeed early in the morning, although those of you across the pond will definitely disagree as it's afternoon for you. But I think this is a really important subject, and I didn't want to rush it, and I appreciate those of you who've watched this whole video. I know it's longer. And I look forward to reading your comments on this and feedback throughout today. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks for watching.